guys, welcome back to another one of my videos. In this one, I was a bit concerned about now that spring is in the air and of course summer is around the corner. A lot of people are very hesitant to go out into the sunlight to do their daily routines or go on vacations or anything like that because of obviously the health scares of skin cancer and getting overexposure to the sun, etc., etc. There's a million forms of different sun protection now out on the market. Mineral protection, chemical protection for sunscreens, spraying it on, slathering it on, sticks, roll up sticks that you put on, very travel friendly, etc., etc. Of course, there are clothing manufacturers now that are incorporating sun protection, sunscreen protection into their clothing line. So if you buy, a hoodie or a jacket or pants or a hat, it has some built-in sunscreen protection nowadays. But when is too much protection? Okay, that is my topic for today. Everybody knows that you do need the sunlight for health benefits. Now, obviously, you're not going to sit in the sunlight and bathe in it for hours and hours, but you do need a minimal amount of sunlight to penetrate into your skin to be able to have enough vitamin D. So vitamin D is where I'm coming from. I have been tested in the past for low vitamin D. I don't shun the sun, that much. But however, I do have a day job that I am indoors most of the time. I'm in an office environment. I do get to go out sometimes for errands and things like that in my job, so that's a good thing. But more often than not, 8, 9, 10 hours a day, I don't see the light of day till I get out of that office. And I'm not near a window, so I don't get any exposure, sun exposure in that way to, any facilities that have sun coming through, okay? So I wanted to come up here and say, I'm not a doctor, but I did have my vitamin D levels checked by a doctor, and I was told that I was deficient in, not overly deficient, but definitely on that low spectrum side of vitamin D. And I have made modifications in my diet. I'm taking extra vitamin D supplements right now, not a lot, about 1,000 IUs daily. Especially in the winter months, I will kick that up to about 2 or 3,000 IUs if I'm not getting enough sunlight, or the sun obviously is not that strong in the winter months, and I go ahead and do 3,000 IUs. But I wanted to go out here because there is a website, WebMD, that has a really good article on vitamin D deficiency, causes of it, what you can, the symptoms are, and the health risks. So I wanted to kind of go out there, paraphrase it. I've got it here on the side, on my side computer here. So I'm not going to, read the whole thing to you guys, but I did want you guys to be educated on what vitamin D deficiency does to your body, and how to get back some vitamin D into your body. Now, first and foremost, there are two ways to get vitamin D. One is from the sun rays, okay, and the other one is through, of course, supplementation, but also through your diet, okay? Diet being most of the vitamin D. Now, there's some vitamin D and calcium, of course, in green leafy vegetables, but not at the quantities. I want to emphasize, not at the quantities that animal byproducts do have, okay? Some of the natural sources of vitamin D, of course, is cow's milk or calcium or dairy products, cheese products, yogurt products, beef liver, egg yolks, things like that. Okay, and then for fish, salmon and heavier omega fatty acid, omega fatty oils that contain the vitamin D sources from your fish products. So, for example, if you eat a lot of sushi, you probably don't have to worry about a vitamin D deficiency. if you live on a farm or have access to a lot of yogurt and cheese and milk products of that nature, you probably don't have a vitamin D deficiency. One of the things that I did read here in the article is depending on your skin pigmentation, if you are a deeper toned or deeper skin individual that has more melatonin, melanolin, that kind of thing, the pigment in your skin, it prevents the sun rays from getting in that much more, and so you could be susceptible to vitamin D deficiency, as opposed to lighter skinned people that don't have as much pigmentation in their surface skin, so the sun gets in there more. So these are some of the things. Now, I'm going to read here some of the health risks of vitamin D deficiency, just so, because my brain cell is not that great, so I want to make sure that I get all the information to you guys. Symptoms of bone pain and muscle weakness can mean you have a vitamin D deficiency. So if you're walking around, you have some bone pain, muscle weakness, aches, that kind of thing, you might be deficient. I, for example, find it hard lately to, like go upstairs and things like that. Not that I have any bone pain, but I do have muscle weakness, and I feel like the more deficient I am in vitamin D, because I do run on that lower range, I have to pump myself up with vitamin D so that I have enough strength in my muscles and enough muscle tone so that I can go ahead and walk upstairs and walk long ways if I'm walking around outside with my doggies and things like that. So I do feel that. Okay. It says, yet without even symptoms, too little vitamin D can pose health risks. Low blood levels of the vitamin may have been associated with the following. Okay, I'm going to scroll down. Increase risk of death from cardiovascular disease. So apparently, if you are low in vitamin D, that could be a health risk for your heart. It's definitely, vitamin D is heart healthy. So you want to make sure that you have enough vitamin D in your body to make sure that your heart, stays good. And I guess that has to do with the muscle weakness. So that makes sense, because if you are low in vitamin D, you tend to have a muscle weakness compound, right? And your heart is a very large muscle organ in your body. So obviously, if your heart gets weak because of the muscles, because of lack of vitamin D, that could be a problem. Cognitive impairment in older adults. So they're talking about dementia, they're talking about probably senility, maybe even Alzheimer's. There are certain, functions in your brain, again, a very large organ in your body or component in your body, where muscle weakness probably could exacerbate this type of symptoms because of lack or lower vitamin D. Sorry, a lot of pollen today. A lot of pollen in Atlanta. Hang on. Sippy, sippy. Okay, severe asthma in children. Again, if they have vitamin D deficiency, they could develop asthma. And, of course, certain cancers or bone cancers associated with a lack of vitamin D. Now, they're not talking about skin cancer, obviously, but they are talking about, bone-related cancer, okay? And let's see. Research suggests that vitamin D could play a role in the prevention of and treatment of a number of different conditions, including type 1 and type 2 diabetes, hypertension, glucose intolerance, and multiple sclerosis. So definitely something to look into. In fact, there have been research and things done in northern countries, like Norwegian and Scandinavian countries, Sweden, Norway, all of those countries up there, that have a very limited amount of sunlight during the winter months. They do have a higher component, believe it or not, regionally, of type 1 diabetes in kids, okay, and adults, obviously. And some of the theories going around, I don't know if it's been proven or not yet, but some of the research that goes around is that the lack of enough sunlight in those countries can exacerbate this, I guess, genetic component of getting diabetes. So something to look into, definitely. My son's type 1 diabetic. He wasn't born in one of the northern countries, but I don't know. I mean, so far I think his vitamin D is okay, but you just don't know. Of course, there's multiple reasons to get type 1 diabetes. It's an autoimmune disorder, but apparently, the lack of vitamin D can't, help in doing that. Okay. Sorry for rambling, but that's just me going on. Okay, let me see what else I can glean from this article. And again, I don't want to waste your time and read all of it to you because, I mean, you can go up here and do it, right? And it says here, though, one of the things it does make mention is if you shun the sun, suffer from milk allergies, in other words, you can't have dairy products, or adhere to a strict vegan diet, you may be at risk for vitamin D deficiency. Known as the sunshine vitamin, vitamin D is produced by the body in response to skin being exposed to sunlight. It also occurs naturally in a few foods, including some fish liver oils, and egg yolks, and in fortified dairy and grain products. So obviously, a lot of the what they're talking about as far as grain products is cereals. A lot of kids' cereals are fortified with vitamin D. Of course, they're fortified with other vitamins as well, but vitamin D is a very important fortification for breakfast cereals. It's a very important component of milk. So if you buy milk, your gallon milk will always have, it'll say right on there, vitamin D fortified. And then I've noticed on some of the other non-dairy, let's say, products to drink, for example, almond milk or rice milk, cashew milk, anything like that. You can look on the labels, and I think some of them are fortified with vitamin D. So you should look at that. Of course, if you're a vegan, you might have some consideration as far as what type of vitamin D and from what source is it coming from as it's being fortified in your vegan drink. Okay, and that's some research that you have to do. I don't know. I know that there are dark leafy vegetables that have natural vitamin D in them because obviously they take it from the sun. Well, so the sun comes in, and on the dark leafy, leaves, because of the photosynthesis and the dark coloring, it absorbs enough to manufacture and contain vitamin D. I'm not sure if it's at the same level as animal derived vitamin D, so it might be at a much lower percentage. So for example, eating your spinach every day, like Popeye did, you might have enough vitamin D in there because of spinach if you eat a ton of it. But if you're just every now and then having a salad or anything like that, it might not be the amount that your body needs for you to have enough vitamin D in there. Okay, does that make sense? So definitely consult with your doctor and make sure that for whatever reason, go ahead and have a blood test. I had a blood test for vitamin D deficiency, and I did come up short, as a matter of fact, a couple of years ago. And since then, I have been supplementing with vitamin D. I do take about 1,000 IUs in the summertime because I'm outdoors a little more often. And in the wintertime, I up that to about 3,000 IUs. So that's just the way I do it. I know some people take a much higher dosage of vitamin D. I think, I just think that after a while, your body just excretes the remainder. So there's no real benefit of taking more supplementation of this. It works in conjunction with another vitamin that you have to have in there. Let me look at this. I think that you need to have dairy or something in here. Let me look. I did read this. Let's see, if you're following a vegan diet. Okay, they said that fortified milk, beef liver. Okay, we got that. Oh, calcium. That's it. That was the one. You need calcium. Calcium and vitamin D kind of work together in conjunction to absorb. So you need it. You need the calcium to absorb the vitamin D in there. That is the reason why they fortify milk that heavily with vitamin D, because they are very symbiotic and they work beautifully together. Uh, Same thing with spinach. Spinach does contain calcium in it, and some vitamin D. So again, it just works beautifully together. It's a whole food, So you just eat that. But yeah, go ahead and discuss this with your healthcare advisor, especially if you're feeling kind of run down, if you're feeling moody, if you're having any kind of blues that you've been out in the sun. That's another thing. Depression can kick in from lack of enough sunlight. They do say that there has been research that the northern countries do have a higher rate of depression and anxiety, and of course suicide rate. So there are a number of reasons why you should at least get a few minutes of sun, as you can, during the summer months, and of course in the winter months, if you can get out there. No matter how cold it is, the sun is the sun. It's going to get through the clouds, and it's going to get down to you somehow. You might need to stay out there a little longer or what, but at least try to do it. And you know for the sun SPF kind of thing, again, obviously if you have skin cancer or have had any issues with any type of skin cancer, or obviously premature aging, things like that, you don't want to stay out in the sunlight for 5 hours straight. I mean, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you need about a good 15 to 20 minutes is what they say that the requirement is, for enough sunlight to hit your skin and get through and benefit your body to start that whole chemical reaction of the sunlight hitting your skin and then making the vitamin D within your cells so that you can get enough into your bones and your bone structure and be healthy. Okay, so that's all I'm saying. I'm saying, don't freak out and live in a cave with 5 layers of clothing on, and look like white as a ghost, pale is what I'm saying, pale, because you're so fearful of the sun. The sun is a natural thing. The earth circles around it, and there's a reason that there are birds and animals and plants that thrive basically in sunlight. They thrive in it. You can't grow crops if you don't have sun. I mean, it's just the nature of the thing. So it's not all destructive is what I'm saying, and it's not all negative. You have to take the good with the bad. You, as anything, do not abuse sun exposure. Don't be out there for 5 hours. Don't sit by the pool and get all the reflections and not put on sunscreen. That's not what I'm saying. Just, be out there, be healthy, be mindful, and get your dosage up if you are definitely on the border, or if you are elderly, go ahead and rock on that nice little porch out there for 15-20 minutes, or play with the grandkids in the garden in the backyard, and it'll benefit you and your grandchildren and everybody concerned. Okay, I love you guys very much. Thank you again for joining me. I hope that you take a minute to subscribe to my channel. I have an extraordinarily high rate of non-subscribers. Seriously, like 90% of my viewers are not subscribers, and I have high view, but people don't subscribe because I guess I have a number of topics, skincare, health. I do have some software, and I do have some cooking, and probably they're not all into everything that I talk about. But if you do want to be notified, and it doesn't really bug you or anything, you just basically subscribe, and then if a new video comes on by me, it kind of alerts you through email that I have just uploaded a video. If the content is not what you're looking for, if, for example, you're into skincare and I have a cooking video up that day, so be it. You don't have to click on the link to view it or anything like that. But at least if you are subscribed, you'll get an alert to every video I get, and hopefully there'll be a topic out there that you will want to click on and watch. Okay, I love you guys very much. Stay healthy, stay happy, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.